So we had elections in France, and we were told that the right wing, Le Pen, might win. And so everybody was a little bit worried, especially given what happened with Brexit and Donald Trump here in the US. Well, that didn't happen. Instead, Macron won. He is more of a left-wing / centrist candidate, and he's only 39 years old. So here's the amazing part of the story. It is that it is the first time a non-establishment party has won in France. Now, that is a familiar theme. Now, you'll hear me say throughout this story, I told you, okay? So because my main point had been, look guys, people don't want the establishment anymore. We've had 4 to 5 decades of their rule, and people are not believing their lies anymore. They told us that we would all have increasing wages and that multinational corporations had our best interests in mind and big business was here to help you, right? And now we found out that that just isn't the case. So whether it's Greece or UK or France or America or almost anywhere in the world, everybody's voting in Philippines, right or wrong, voting for outsiders. We don't want the establishment. How clear can we possibly be? Now, Macron is not some sort of, revolutionary in that sense, but he started a new party. He has never run for office before, and he's the president of France. Isn't that amazing? And that's in the old days, that would have never happened. But I'm telling you that the revolt has begun. And so this is definitely part of that. So let me give you some of the details of what happened here. Macron is a former member of the Socialist Party who served as economy minister for just 2 years under President François Hollande and was a banker for Rothschild and Company prior to entering politics. Before the presidential election, he had never run for elected office. Amazing. So in Europe and America, for a person like that to win was largely inconceivable in the past, now has become commonplace. Now, again, not exactly a Bernie Sanders style revolutionary here. The guy worked in the financial industry. Television seemed to favor him in France, giving you some idea that the establishment is not overly angry that Macron has won. Obama endorsed him. So it's not like he's got no connections to the establishment, but it is a brand new party and definitely not one of the parties that has traditionally won in France. So it's the voters saying in a sense, okay, had enough of those guys, let's try something new, almost anything new. Now, he's a little bit more centrist, so that brings up a second issue that's very interesting, so let's give you more details. Despite Macron's lack of experience, his newly founded political movement, En Marche, or Onward, rapidly gained supporters. He took a radical message of criticizing France's political class as ineffectual and corrupt, but applied it to a restrained centrist platform based mostly on moderate economic reforms. Now, I think that this goes to a second told you. Not just that people want outsiders, but it isn't about right wing, left wing. In this case, it was centrist. So now, what did I say during the presidential elections? That if you only give them one populist choice, the American people will take it. So the Democrats gave them an establishment choice and the right wing gave them a populist choice, Donald Trump. I mean, it's a false populism, of course we know that, but it was an outsider, someone who hadn't been involved in politics, and so they chose it. If you'd given them one on the left, it was far more popular and very likely would have won, and now Bernie Sanders, of course, is the most popular politician in the country. His ratings nearly double President Trump and Hillary Clinton. So if you don't give them an outsider opportunity, on your side, they'll vote for the other side, or they'll vote in the middle. And basically, France is saying anyone that isn't part of the corrupt establishment. And so, and even for the left here, and I'm a progressive, but it doesn't mean that you have to be super progressive. Like the most progressive person is the most likely to win. Now, Bernie Sanders in the political spectrum of the Senate is the most progressive person, but I think his real appeal is his honesty and the fact that he's clearly not corrupt, clearly an outsider, and it's the strength of his positions. It's not the extremeness of the positions, it's how significantly and strongly you hold those positions. So in this case, you had a strong centrist who was an outsider, good enough. So in fact, they explained that after the wider election, obviously with the runoff in France, and the two rivals at the end shared an outsider status. but had radically different vision for France's future. The last two standing were both outsiders. Now, Le Pen had vowed to take France out of the Eurozone and return it to the franc as a national currency. She said she'd hold a referendum on European Union membership, as well as introduce anti-Islam and anti-immigration policies. Mimicking the campaign of US President Donald Trump, she promised to pursue a French first agenda, and her election would have been a devastating blow to the EU. Well, this is your third told you. Just because they're an outsider and hence had some popularity doesn't mean that all of France is right wing, or all of America or all of the UK is right wing. The press just cannot break out of the left-right spectrum thinking. So they're like, oh, Le Pen is rising. It must mean that France is really right wing. No, she got slaughtered in the general election. The final results were 66.1 for Macron and 33.9 for Marine Le Pen. So the reality is only 34% of the French were interested in her version of the outsider model, the deeply right-wing version. They overall not popular. By the way, Donald Trump on the day of the election had an approval rating of only 37%, about where he is today. It's not like he's very popular in America, he's deeply unpopular. The only reason he won was because the Democratic Party put a complete establishment figure, the establishment figure, next to him. If you had run a progressive candidate, a populist candidate, an outsider candidate, Donald Trump, like Le Pen, would have almost certainly lost. Now, will the Democratic Party or Washington in general learn that lesson here in America? Unlikely. They'll probably go right back to that left-right spectrum and talk about the same things they always do and support the establishment like they always do. So finally, one more thing that Macron did right. In an interview with Britain's Channel 4 in March, Macron described what he sees as the error of politicians attempting to copy the far right's platform in order to undercut its popularity. Okay, I'm sorry, here's another told you. Now, here in America, again, the Democrats go, no. The right wing's popular, look at Donald Trump, he won, oh my God, they're so popular. Let's copy them. No, that's not the right strategy. Here's Macron's quote. He said, when some people decide to go in the Front National's direction on the political spectrum, that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake because they always prefer the original to the copy. Exactly right, exactly what we've been saying here on this show. So, and by the way, what was the results? He got 66% of the vote, and he's the new president of France when he had never run for election before. Go outsider, be honest, be strong in your positions, and don't bend to the right wing, pretending or actually believing that they are right or that the country agrees with them, because they do not. They didn't in France. I don't believe they do in the UK, and they certainly don't here in America. Look at the polling. Give them a strong outsider perspective from the left, and you will crush. You will win every election you need to win here in America, and certainly throughout Europe as well, and France just showed that. The only question now is whether America is actually listening. I know we are, justicedemocrats.com. That's the exact right strategy. Young Turks membership creates independent media.
Believe me.
No ads.
Believe me.
All the shows.
Believe me.
On demand.
Believe me.
Support independent media.
Believe me.
It's awesome, tremendous, you'll love it.
Believe me.
And by the end, you'll be thinking,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
tytnetwork.com/join.